Welcome to SDH's coverage of everything going on in the NPSL Southeast. It is the weekly review preview. We'll catch up with folks and get you ready for the weekend that will be. But as always, let's go backward, get you into the match of the week, get you into the results of the week, and let you know how things stand as we're approaching very, very quickly the halfway point of the regular season. So let's get you into the results from the week that was. And quickly, it gives us our match of the week. Apotheos and Appalachian FC going at it at North Cobb Christian School. Jarrett Smith and Ben McKittrick on the call. Here's your highlights, courtesy of our friends at Apotheos FC, 11 Sports, and the NPSL.
To find the final ball, and now they're electing to go long.
And trying to go long, and we're trying to win that second ball right here as Blake White tries to get over to Okonkwo. Great diving save! It's cleared up again. Shot! Score! Goal for Apotheos FC.
Well, sometimes it doesn't have to be pretty as long as you get the ball in the back of the net, and that's exactly what it was. A long ball. Blake White picks up the second ball, finds his striker in Okonkwo, and a beautiful finish on the rebound from Blake White, who didn't give his run up.
Ebrahimi able to win it. Ebrahimi able to turn. Ebrahimi shot. Score!
He's done it well all game. Ebrahimi, he puts his back on the defender, gets his first touch, spins Diakite, and finally the visitors are able to find the back of the net. A calm, composed finish from the striker. He's looked dangerous all game long. Not very good defending at the back from Apotheos. They were caught sleeping on the quick throw-in, and Appalachian took full advantage of it.
Attempting to flick it on, unable to do so. Bounces around. Great defensive work. And it is Diakite once again, and that will do it. There's the three whistles, and complaints there from William Smith. They wanted to go forward as Appalachian FC still had the ball, but that will do it. After 90 minutes, nothing to separate them, a 1-1 draw for Appalachian FC and Apotheos FC. What are you taking away from this one?
1-1 draw, shared result by the end of it. All three matches this past Saturday were 7 o'clock Eastern Time kicks. The other two matches, Georgia Revolution traveled to Ortho, Carolina, and knocked off at Charlottetown Hops by the score of 2-1 in a very, very wet environment. So the Revs go on the road, take full points. And then also at the University of West Georgia's soccer complex, 865 Alliance down 1-0. Come back from the 1-0 deficit and beat Georgia Storm with 2 goals in quick succession in the second half. Final score was 2-1. 865 Alliance traveling down from Hardin Valley to Carrollton and get the win in at the University of West Georgia. So that sets up our standings and lets you know where things are as we are getting very, very close to the midway point of the regular season. In the Southeast Conference after 4 matches, it is the Revs at 9 points, 3 wins and a loss. Apotheos after 4 matches, it is 2 wins and 2 ties at 8 points. 865 Alliance at 7. App FC across the board with 1s. They're at 4 points. Charlottetown's at 3. And the Storm are still looking for their first win of the season with the 3 losses that they have on the board. So that sets you up for the week that will be. And it's time to catch up with folks. We mentioned that the Georgia Revolution, they are at the top of the ladder. So it is time to catch up with the head coach of the Revs, Jack Marchant, and find out about the week that was and get into the week that will be. Full points on the board after last weekend, 2-1 over Charlottetown. Now that you've had a couple days to think about it, what do you think?
It's a fantastic result. Going on the road, going 1-0 down in conditions that I'm very used to back in England was really pleasing. Really pleasing. Again, I said it last week. Charlottetown are a good side, and I think they'll do some good things this year. So to be able to take 6 points off a rival like that in the league is nothing short of very pleasing.
What's it like to have Callum back in the fold?
Makes my life a lot easier. Now Callum's superb. Not only just the quality he brings, but the leadership aspect of his game as well. And again, he brings the group together really well. And again, shares a common goal that we all have, which is wanting to be successful this summer. So it's just fantastic having him back.
1-1 at the break. You can give away state secrets if you want, but what was the conversation like at halftime getting ready for the second 45, knowing you were a goal down, you fight back, Callum evens it up, and then you get into the halftime? What was the conversation like at the half?
We just talked about keeping it tight and keeping it secure. I was a little concerned going into the game. Again, we bust up there the day of. And I just said it's important that we start quickly, and we did not. We went 1-0 down, and it took the goal going in against us to kind of wake us up. So we just wanted to ensure that didn't happen in the second half. I think we tried our hardest in the first 10 minutes to do that. But, once the game kind of settled down and the franticness settled down, we started to move the ball really well. I mean, they scored off a set piece, which is disappointing. But then Nate, our goalkeeper, made one good save in the second half. But I think over the course of the game, we hit the post. We scored a goal that was deemed offside. Their keepers made a couple of good saves, and a bit of persistence in the end has proved to be the winner.
Right now, next time out of the blocks, you've played 4, and you're 3-1 out of your first 4, and this is 1 versus 2 in the table coming up, going up against Apotheos. And a lot of folks have said that Apotheos coming in looked like they were, stacked. They're approaching things differently. They look a different bunch. Last couple of weeks, they may have, the first time through the lineup like a guy getting called up from the minors, or a pitcher coming in that you don't have a book on. You kind of let it go. And I think that folks might be learning as they go about Apotheos. What have you learned going into this matchup about them?
On paper, they're the strongest team in the league. They're very good, but it's similar to everybody. It takes 3 to 4 weeks to get everybody settled in and get used to each other. Again, we're approaching it like every other game. Like we talked about over the last couple of weeks, playing Charlottetown back to back. We've taken 6 points off a team that can't get points back off us. So we're approaching this like any other game, but we know if we get the result that we want, we start to separate ourselves from the others below. It's going to be a really tight physical match. Playing up there at North Cobb Christian, it's a small, tight field. I think made to feel even tighter by the surroundings. Again, I think you got 2 yards all around the pitch before you hit the fence. So it's tight, it's hectic, and it's how you manage those little moments. Again, I've watched their game back against Appalachian, and it was one mistake and one switch off led to 2 goals. And we've learned that through our home field at McDonough High School as well. Things tend to happen just a couple seconds quicker on fields like that, and you've got to be prepared for that pressure to bear down on you that quickly. And that's when I go back to the beginning of the season. It's that experience that we talk about, and Apotheos have that in abundance, and it's all about managing it. And again, when you create those chances, it's having the quality to put them away.
You mentioned it takes 3 to 4 weeks to get everything settled in. How settled are you, even though you're at the top of the table?
We've talked about it as a staff, and the good thing is we're winning, and we don't think we've particularly put together nowhere near a complete performance yet. But the fact that we're winning is always a good sign. I think we're getting closer with every week, and this comes from experience from last summer as well. Kind of when you get into June, everyone's in, everyone's settled, everyone's familiar with each other. Again, we picked up one more player last week. George returned. He's been at home with some family things. So, he's in now. I'd like to say that our group is complete. But as we know, in the summer, things change every week. So you just got to kind of roll with the punches. But yeah, that's what we talk about. It's just spending that time together as a group, both on and off the field. Because it's a big thing. It's trust, isn't it? You got to be able to trust each other and know what each other's going to do. So yeah, it's a huge factor, I think, in the summer. But I like to think from now we're going to go from strength to strength. But also looking at the schedule, we know we've got Apotheos, who, like I mentioned, I think on paper are the strongest team in the league. And then we've got the reigning champs next week. So it's a huge 2 weeks for us.
He mentions the matchup against Apotheos. That one is at North Cobb Christian, 7 o'clock on Saturday night. App FC and 865 Alliance, another one of the big quality matchups that we have coming up this week. Here's the two head coaches for Appalachian FC, Dale Parker, as he hosts Michael Meyer and 865 Alliance at Ted Mackerel. So once again, here's your two coaches, Dale Parker, Michael Meyer of Appalachian and 865. All right, you've had a couple days to kind of let things sink in. Your reflections from the match from the weekend.
We're pleased with the result and with the performance. I think the circumstances always change your feelings. Going down to 10 men in the moment where we just got on top of the game and we scored and we felt like we could go on and win it. I think that was disappointing, but the way we saw out the next 30 minutes was huge in terms of the future of our season, and obviously that on the result on the night. But I think all in all, going to Apotheos and getting a point, I think would have probably taken that before the game.
For those unfamiliar with the situation, you get the goal on the board, then a couple of minutes later you get the red. Break down what happened for those that didn't get the chance to see.
Well, it's a miscommunication, and it's disappointing. I'm not gonna. I don't waste too much time criticizing referees. I think they do the best with what they've got, and until they're given more help, nothing's really going to change. But there's a miscommunication. Alex Render, our centre back, kicked the ball away, got himself a yellow card, and then said something, not directed at anyone, not directed at the referee. Similar language that was being used across the whole field by everybody, and the referee misheard what he said and thought he directed something at him and issued him a straight red card. As you can see from the film, there's a lot of confusion because no one really knows what's happened or why it's happened, and I just feel it's disappointing that the officials make a decision when they don't really know. They're not 100% sure what's happened, and they can just make a decision on what they think they've heard, and obviously it changed the course of the game. Disappointing because I felt it was two top teams in the conference going at it at 1-1, and then that opportunity got taken away.
And now that you've got 865 coming up around the corner, where do you think you are right now as you're getting to the halfway point of the regular season?
We're thankful we've gotten rid of the two Apotheos games, so now we can spread our games out a little bit more. We don't have to play the same two teams, twice in 4 weeks. Now we can look at the other opponents and analyze and see how they stack up. And yeah, we're looking forward to playing somebody different. We feel like we're in a good place. We've ironed out some creases that normally you get to iron out a little bit quicker, but this year it's taken us a bit longer given the strength of the opponents that we've had to play in the first 4 games. But we feel like we're in a good spot to go on a run. Nothing's given in this league. You think you're in a good spot, and all of a sudden you get smacked in the teeth, and you end up losing the next 2. But for us, we're confident. We're still reigning league champions. We're still going to play that way, and we feel like we've got a really, really good performance ready to come to the surface pretty soon.
So when you look at 865, and you've had the chance to see somebody else's tape for a change, as you get to say, when you look at 865, what have you seen so far out of them?
They're a good team. They're obviously year one, it's difficult, building a team, building a club from nothing. But what we've seen so far, they're a good team. I know quite a few of the players. Coached them in my college team last year, and they like to try and play. And I don't think there's a right or wrong way of playing, but they try and play more of a passing style, more of a possession style. Be interested to see what they do coming up the mountain, if they continue to do that, or if they sit off us and let us play. I think it'll be an interesting sort of a chess match early on in the game. But they've got some good players, a good team. I said to somebody earlier, I think they remind us a little bit of us in year one, where we had no fear. We tried to play on the front foot, and we tried to attack teams with the ball. Unfortunate for us, we got hit by teams with experience. Hopefully we can do that to 865 tomorrow.
So what's it like going up against guys that from the college side of things, going up against them in an NPSL framework?
It's tricky because I have a distinct way I like to play. I use certain formations, and we always play the same style. So it's tricky because that they know what they're going to be up against. So it's always fun. But at the same time, I know about them as well. So I know individually what they're capable of doing, what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are, and tendencies. And yeah, it's always nice to see players that you've worked with in the past, and it's even nice if you can get one over on them. But yeah, looking forward to seeing those guys, and hopefully they have an off day, and we can perform to the levels that we know we can.
Got the chance to see you up close and personal last week with the match in Carrollton against Georgia Storm. Now that you've had a couple days to stare at it, what are some of your takeaways?
Well, thanks for having me on, John. Every team poses different tactical things that you have to adjust to every single time. Every team is difficult to prepare for. They're all good in the NPSL and in the South region or Southeastern region. So, we gave up a really good goal by them, a direct kick at the top of the box. And then I think it was number 3 that put it in, upper 90, hell of a shot. And then we had to settle down a little bit. And they had some run of the play in that first half. And they added Lucas, which they didn't have before. And I knew him from Concord. So as soon as I saw him on the field, I knew we were going to have our hands full with that kid on the left side, number 7. So, because I had played against or coached against him. So they obviously had some upgrades. And once we kind of sorted that out and adjusted in the second half, we came out a lot better and got 2 nice goals. And then we were able to hold them off, and they were pressing us. So we were very lucky to get the 3 points.
What does it say about this squad that you had the wherewithal? You talk to them at the half, you're down 1-0, but then you come back in short order and get a couple of goals really quickly to take the 2-1 lead and then hang on. What does that say about this bunch?
The discipline, I keep saying that, and I said that to you last week, that the wherewithal where they are in every match, and they know that, and the confidence keeps building and building and building, and knowing if we stay to the task at hand and follow the game plan, good things will happen, and just work through. It's not always going to be perfect. There's going to be bumps along the road, and if you can just stay the task and follow the adjustments that we made at half, and I think our midfield got better, and then our movement up top got better. There was like an ocean or a cushion in between the midfield line and the forward line in the first half, and we weren't finding it. In the second half, we started finding it, and once we saw that, then we were able to break them down that first 20, 25 minutes, and then obviously it was just obvious helter-skelter the last 10, 15 minutes, but we were able to pull it off.
Now that we're coming to the halfway point of the regular season, where do you think you are as a club right now?
Still developing. I mean, we're new, and like AppFC tomorrow is going to be a tough match. Obviously, Dale does a good job. He has changed formations 3 times as I've watched them from the beginning when they were in the U.S. Open Cup against NC Fusion. They played a 4-3-3. They played 4-4-2. They just played a 5-3-2 against Apothos, but I think, my humble opinion, Apothos is probably the most athletic team in the conference. So you have to adjust to the people that you're playing, and he does that well. So we got our hands full tomorrow, and we're going to have to be really prepared and, keep reviewing the film and seeing any little intricacy, easy for me to say, where we can find a breakdown and then expose it.
Sunday, you get your final match of the weekend, and it is Charlottetown with another home match. This time they entertain Georgia Storm. Great interview this time around, first time on the show for the head coach of the Hops, Morteza Ebrahimi. We catch up with him about what it's like to build something from the ground up and what it's been like for him so far this season. How did you end up being the coach at Hops FC?
Okay, actually, I've been working at Charlotte Soccer Academy since 5 years ago. And a couple of our owners, when decided to start with this team, they reached out to our directors and executive director at Charlotte Soccer Academy, and they wanted to have one of our coaches from CSA. And then, I was suggested to them. They reached out to me, and after a couple of time conversation, I accepted this role.
What was it about the mission and the vision of Hops that connects with you and what they want to accomplish here?
Yeah, that's a good question. The first time I talked to Matt Spear, when I asked him what's their plan, what they are looking for, and what he said, it touched me because he told me they want to launch this club because of this community. They want to use football to be connected with the people. They wanted to give back to our community, and they wanted to help those people, those young players, which they would like to watch a soccer game on the weekend, and for any reason they're not able to get to Bank of America and play Charlotte FC game. And they wanted to give this opportunity for those young players to come to a stadium and watch the game. Also, they wanted to support our local small businesses. So, which is aligned with my philosophy. You know, I'm a coach. I would like to help the young players, develop the young players, and of course, the community. I have been living here since 5-6 years ago. I mean, this community, the people around me here, they helped me a lot to grow, and yeah, I wanted to give back to my community as well.
As someone who has played, and as someone who has been a youth national team player, what excites you the most about coaching those who want to be a pro?
Yeah, interesting question. I do remember back in the day when I was very young and I was pursuing to be a pro. So a lot of concern, a lot of dreams, a lot of problems, issue up and down. So I was lucky because back in the day, I had good coaches and good people around me who they have helped me to get the point I wanted to be. And it was in my mind forever. I retired. I said, okay, now it's my time. First of all, I love coaching. The reason to do that, I want to help the young players to grow and just pursuing their dream. As I said, yes, I mean, I can understand my players. Majority of the players, those players we have right now, they are either current college players or ex-college players. They are trying to be a pro. So the big thing for me is that understanding. I can feel them, I can understand them off the field, on the field, what is their dreams, what is the concern, and what area they're struggling, and hopefully I can do my best to help them a little bit, push them forward to get their goal.
What's it been like to build a roster from a blank sheet of paper and create something to where it is right now with Hobbs?
Oh yeah, I mean, very challenging. As you know, we had nothing, brand new club, no experience. Actually our owners, our founders, they have been in soccer environment, they were experienced, but as a club we had nothing. We had to build everything on the ground. And as you know, most important thing is player. So I was lucky because of connection. Matt, Casey, our owners, they had the connection. Also, I had Steve Gomer, which is a Charlotte Soccer Academy director here, with a big and huge credit and relationship with many our ex-players at Charlotte Soccer Academy. And yeah, I mean, that connection and that names helped me and helped us to recruit players. It was very challenging, but sweet at the time.
After 4 matches, you're coming up to the halfway point of the season. Storm is coming to visit this weekend. After your first 4 matches, where do you think Hops is as a team as you get ready for the second half of the season?
So we can approach in 2 different ways. We can judge our team based on the result, or maybe you want to judge our team based on the way we play and how long and how much we have developed already. I can tell you maybe result-wise, it wasn't good enough, but it wasn't our main goal. Our main objective was how we can develop a team, how we can build a team, how we can develop a team. As I said, it was challenging for first games. For example, we had 13 players on the roster for our first game in Georgia with no preparation, maybe a couple of sessions. And our two past games, unfortunately, we have been missing 5-6 players because of injury and the other commitments. So it was challenging, but soccer-wise, I'm delighted to say we are on a good path. Development-wise, as a team, we are developing. We have been developing, and game by game, you can see, the way we play, the way we attack, we stick with our game plan, our game idea, the way we defend. I do believe we are growing, and I'm delighted to say this is the first week and this is the first game I have whole squad except one player. So far we had good sessions. We have a friendly game tonight, and we know the Storm. We already watched them twice, and yeah, I think it's going to be a good game for both. They are a good team, very strong, and I think now we are a stronger team than even last week.
So once again, thanks to all the teams and everybody who lets us knock on the door and then they answer and let us know everything else that's going on when it comes to the NPSL Southeast. So once again, reminder, North Cobb Christian, 7 o'clock Saturday night, Apotheos hosting the Revs. Ted Mackerel, 7 o'clock on Saturday night in Boone, App FC and 865 Alliance. Sunday at 7 at Ortho Carolina, Georgia Storm, visiting the Charlottetown Hops. Thanks to everybody in the NPSL, top to bottom, for letting us see what's going on in the Southeast Conference every single week. If you are in market, if you're near North Cobb, the MAC, or Ortho Carolina, and can catch any of the three matchups, please do. It's great soccer here in the Southeast, and it's great to see how these teams are assembled, put things together in short order in the sprint that it is the NPSL. If you are out of market, try to catch them on 11 Sports. Follow along through your local providers. If you can't and you're out of market, you can always catch up with us every single week or follow along through local providers as well using your favorite device, large device or small. So that is the story with what's going on here in the NPSL Southeast as we hit the midway point of the season. Play it safe, everybody. For everybody here at SDH, enjoy the games.